latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Telling you guys a bit of a review on a brand new product from Vango. So with me here today, I've got the Vango Vesta Air 850 XL. So the Vesta Air is a bit of a different tent in what we see in kind of Vango's range as a whole for many reasons. One being it's actually more what we call like a vis-a-vis tent, i.e. you've got sleeping areas each end tent and a communal living area dead in the centre. Very similar, to be fair, like the kind of long neat, but this is definitely more in kind of a more premium kind of features and feels, and also, to be fair, a lot of it's kind of nuts and bolts on how it's put together to a certain extent. So the joys of this, actually, you've got completely separate sleeping compartments at one side to the other. So you have adults on one end, kids on the other, and you've got that, I'll say, that internal space in between. It's inflatable, so it's very quick and easy to pitch. You can see from our own Attwoolls pitching and packing video, it took me no longer, and I think about 10 minutes dead flat to pitch on my own. The joys of this, actually, in certain ways, is you get a manual pump supplied with it. You can either inflate it via a single point inflation or still do multi-point. So it's a very clever system that Vango have done for their kind of what they call SI Pro, i.e. single inflation pro system. Every single beam has got an inflation deflation valves, but the middle beam here has got two valves. One at the top for a multi-point inflation, as the other beams do. Failing out, the one at the bottom here is the single point. So that's the one we use for our pitching and packing video. What this enables you to do is actually use like an electric pump, put it on there, pumps the whole thing up. You can sit back, relax, watch it go up, and then once it's physically up, just go and peg it out. So that's one of the joys of it. Admittedly, if you're doing it from a single point inflation, it's a bit harder to do it on the manual pump. I've done it in the video, so you can always check it out, and it's not bad to have a little break and just pull it out into position before going for a second round. But joys, because it's very quick and easy to pitch, you know, it means you can take it away for a short weekend trip or even a longer week if you really, really wanted to. The material we've got, it sits in kind of Vango's kind of Earth Dura collection. So it's almost an amalgamation of materials. They've kind of used their kind of Dura fabric, but used the recycled earth kind of principle. So what this essentially tent is made from is basically single-use plastic. So if we take it, say, like in a kind of bottle form, so what they essentially do is they take single-use plastic, like say bottles or whatever, melt it down into chips. Chips get basically sort of melted down, extruded into thread. Thread gets woven into fabric, and voila, we have this recycled material. So what's a really nice concept, essentially something that would be necessarily going to waste, suddenly becomes something we can reuse again in real life, and that's that whole kind of circle of life sort of idea. So works really smartly. Again, from a waterproof level, we've got 4,000 hydrostatic heads, so it's really nice and waterproof, and a good sort of 75 denier. So again, good thickness and a good bit of durability. And because it's kind of made in the Dura way, in a way it's a way of getting a stronger weave and a more kind of consistent weave throughout it, so you have no weak spots or flaws in the actual fabric itself. So again, that's one of the benefits of that Dura part of those Eco Dura material. We've got a really nice kind of almost like a conservatory kind of living area as such. We've got window panels on either side, obviously with a door, so you have your entrance and you've got one on either side. The one we can see from the camera point of view is got this rain-safe canopy. So it means you can get in and out of the actual tent itself without having to worry about the water coming down and directly going into the tent. There's a sloping ground sheet throughout the whole tent, so you get a real sense of kind of security, and it feels really nice and enclosed. But you've got lots of ventilation. So not only we've got low-level ventilation points beneath the windows to help with airflow, but the door panels, which opposite side, have a zip-down curtain, leaving exposed a really nice big air sort of mesh panel itself. Sky windows from the top as well allow plenty of light into it, and there's a very clever little curtain system that works, so you can quite happily get that in and out of there. Excuse the noise, I haven't been some building work done. On either side, what we can see here is we've got really nice high visibility storm straps to get great tension into the roof, and again, high visibility guidelines make life a lot easier. I really do love this kind of colour scheme as we see here, so it's like a, to me it like sort of feels like a McLaren F1 kind of star car. With this beautiful kind of gorgeous blue, a little bit of a red kind of orangey kind of trim, but that works really, really well. The pole over here is a fiberglass pole which you can insert kind of afterwards, and what we'll have a look on the inside is certainly a bit more of a feel for how it's laid out, but also kind of the features that we've got located inside the actual tent itself. So let's have a look and see what it has to offer. So now inside the tent, you can probably appreciate for kind of a little bit more of the feel inside of here. What I've done is I've set the camera directly in the opposite bedroom, so we've almost got kind of a mirrored effect. So if you imagine me kind of drawing a line directly here, it's reflecting what we see on that side is the same on this side itself. So the first thing comes quite apparently is actually kind of the overall living space you've got in here. It's quite a bit ample, more happily for kind of a table and chairs, more happy centrally, and you can kind of get around as you see fit. Failing that, you do have kind of these offset kind of windows on either side, so you could more than happily put sort of a table or something directly up to that itself. One thing I would say, because it's almost a two-zone tent to a certain degree, you haven't got that sort of shelters kind of canopy area. So you can buy an additional kind of canopy that goes over the top that kind of universally fits. So that would be kind of the way you would maybe cook or sort of leave your shoes and that sort of stuff out on a rainy day. But the reason you kind of go for this tends to be more the fact that you are looking for that kind of separate bedding area to one another with that communal living area directly in the middle. Headroom wise, really quite ample. I mean, I'm 6'2", sat dead in the centre. When we get into the middle here, tons and tons of room directly there. In the corners again, because this very kind of villa boxy shape, it works also well, and that helps to make it feel a little bit bigger than you would necessarily feel because the walls are a bit further away from you. It's worth mentioning that in terms of the where the bedroom section is, we're looking around about 3 meters deep, for 3 meters width in total, and then right in the middle, it's got kind of this kind of, I don't know, corset kind of waist sort of thing. It's 440 at that point, so it spreads itself a little bit wider in kind of that living area to give you a bit more sort of flexibility in space. The inner tents, as we see here, is very much a comfy 8-berth, I'd say, really, because you can happily put sort of 2 on 2, and then obviously the same on the other side. The divider itself can actually be removed, it's just a toggle divider, so you have this one big open 4-berth bedroom if you really wanted an extra level of comfort. And the thing I do say when it's being a true sort of 2-berth bedroom is that you get 140 for 2 people, so you can more than happily fit a double air bed on both sides. Really nice sort of kind of darker colour to the inner as well. So this is going to hopefully help reduce early morning light. I mean, you're not going to wake up first thing in the morning. Bedroom front doors are really quite nice and simple. You've got a great big mesh panel located in the front of here as well. And as I bring the camera out a bit later on, we'll kind of have a good look at that as well. Other things to mention in the actual bedding sections, we've got kind of storage pockets built into it. So you can actually put keys and books and phones, that sort of stuff, quite nice and neatly in the bedroom, so you can happily find it, you know, when you're sort of in the middle of the night. Nice big ventilation panel at the back of the bedroom as well as the low-level ones we talked to about the windows. So visibility is great. You get almost like nearly a 360 view around kind of the campsite on this. So whether you're looking directly out through the door or the window or through the roof. Roof is really quite nice, allows a bit more light in here. It feels really quite fresh. If you wanted the ability of actually kind of getting the privacy above from the roof, you can do that. So located here is a really nice round curtain with 2 kind of zips. One bringing yourself back on that bit, and then another with extended cord. So even if you're not the tallest, and again, covers the roof really quite nice and neatly. There's even a little sort of storage pocket located there for kind of the cord when you're not necessarily using it. And again, that gives you coverage on the roof and actually helps to make it kind of a smidge darker in here. We've got a really nice kind of solid beam structure along all the points. And again, it's around about 10 centimetre beam, so it's a good standard sort of beam. On the actual beam itself, certainly in the main kind of living area, for example, we've got Vango's sort of iconic Skytrack system. So the ability to have a hanging point for a lantern, having it running all the way down and around. If you want to put some storage pockets directly down, that's also a really nice sort of thing to it as well. From the door section, whether we're going out the one with the kind of rain-safe canopy door or out the other one directly, we've got this real nice big mesh to help with the airflow, so great for breathability in here. When you want kind of that security against kind of the weather and stop the breathability, then you merely can zip up the cover, so again, you kind of keep the weather quite nice and neatly out. For the window panels, it's worth mentioning that they're actually toggle up dividers or blinds to give you that extra element of privacy as and when you need to. And the other thing I do like about the doors is you can actually buy some additional king poles, bring them out and make a little canopy as well. So that works really, really nicely. But I'll tell you what, let's kind of pick the camera up and we'll talk for a few more features as a Vesta as we give it a bit more of a look round. Other things I've neglected to mention, to be fair, is the fact that you've got kind of Vango's TBS system. So it stands for tension band system, and you can see it there like a triangle kind of formation. This helps to give you a bit more internal bracing on windy weather, and you can see it kind of corresponds out with kind of the guide points. There you go. To give you a really nice solid structure from the peak out to the far side. So it retains a shape. So if, for example, you had, for God forbid, wind coming in directly from this kind of area, this point here angles this point and keeps it really nice and rigid. As we're kind of looking back where the bedroom was, you can see that mesh panel built into the actual kind of bedroom itself, and really nice, quite dark, and a good sort of depth in there. And when we kind of go inside, nice and dark, but you can see there's ventilation points in the corners and the back of the roof, just to give you a bit more of a nicer feel. But works really well. Low level ventilation, as we talked about, down the bottom here, as well as a curtain that rolls directly up. Curtains can go halfway, or if need be, fully up to the top. Obviously, that combined with kind of the roof skyline, or whatever you want to call it, roof curtains, it kind of gives you that real feel. You've got a hanging point dead center here for a hanging point for a lantern. It's worth saying you've got Skytrack on both bits by the bedrooms, but not directly above the center. So really, you've got to have your hanging point directly there. There's no reason you couldn't insert and feed probably the cable through that little bit of a channel. We'll kind of walk out the actual tent now and get a bit more of a kind of wander around it. You've also got kind of a drop up door located down here, so that can drop down if need be, so it means you haven't got trip hazard directly into the tent itself. But as we kind of come around and have a bit of a wander around, you can see kind of that kind of design. As we're looking at it from one end to the other, you probably see how it kind of pops out a bit more. I think it's one thing it does look is really quite sharp. How the material looks, the colour scheme, I think they've really nailed making it like a quite an attractive tent with an awful lot kind of going on. And again, you've got that rain-safe canopy door located on the side. But I think it just oozes class and premium for me with kind of the single point Vango inflation system. Again, that's a really nice kind of big bonus. And we've got a really nice air vent located at the top. So not only have we got kind of really strong webbing straps, but we've got little retainers here as well to kind of keep them at bay when we want to. And all the adjustment points where the pegging points are, again, are kind of a really nice solid webbing strap as well. We go inside. So now we're back inside. That, to be fair, really kind of is the main kind of points about the Vesta. If you wanted more kind of information for anything at all, feel free, of course, to comment in the box below this video. Failing that, you're more than welcome to check the link below. It'll take you straight through the website. We've got more information on things like all the specifications, pack sizes, pack weights. And in terms of actual tent, it's raised around about just a smidge over 30 kilograms, so it works really well. It's also worth mentioning that there is a Smartpak bag. So it's a really nice way you can actually kind of compress the tent before getting it into the bag as well. It's not quite a roller bag, as you can probably see from a separate video we've done, but there's no reason why you couldn't, if you wanted to get that kind of roller and a bit more solid structure, you could actually buy the Smartpak roller bag for this particular tent itself. With terms of the warranty as well, you get a 2-year warranty as standard with this tent. When you purchase it for a retailer like ourselves, you get a 3rd year free by registering it and quoting kind of the guarantee number that we give you. So all in all, plenty to talk about, something a bit different. Nice to see a bit of a newer vis-a-vis kind of tent in the market, somewhere that you've still got the ability to have kind of, you know, a communal living section, a deep and generous kind of sleeping section at both ends, depending whether it's for kids or for adults, with the ability of dividing up or opening it up, and with an extras of actually adding on additional canopies. I think it works really quite nicely. But it's one model we're looking to have up on display at our indoor showrooms. If you want to see it in the flesh and kind of get a bit more of a feel for what you would kind of lay it out or set it up like, you're more than welcome to do that. But yeah, that is kind of our little video review on the Vango Vesta Air 850. By all means, check out our pitching and packing video, and any more questions and queries, feel free to get in touch. But thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.